Right, here we go guys, just making rigs, making life a lot easier and cheaper when you're doing rigs. I catch a lot of carp, if you see on my videos. I've only done a few at the moment, but I'll be doing a lot more as it gets warmer obviously. And if I used all the stuff that I see on YouTube, it would cost me loads. Like, I can't even use braided hook links where I fish. So this is what I generally use where I'm fishing. Got a little kicker on it, little size 12 hook, and just a little hair. Nothing crazy. I'm just going to tie it now to show you what I'm doing with it. It's £6 Guru line, and honestly I do really well on it. I have no problems. Sometimes I put a little tiny black shot on the middle there just to kick it down so it doesn't like kick up like this in the water or anything weird. But other than that, I catch a lot of fish on just a general hair rig. I don't go crazy. I do D rigs and stuff like that, but only when I'm fishing like linear or something like that, or somewhere where I know the fish, like where I caught my PB, where I know the fish are really big and I'm wary of certain rigs, then I will. But generally, when I'm fishing just a runs water, I'm going to be fishing mono hook links. It's just a lot easier and cheaper then. And the other thing is as well, I rarely lose my gear. So basically what I'm saying is I just cut the hook off and keep all the components. It's so much cheaper. Right, I got these hooks cheap. So I've been using them for all different types of things. I actually bought these ones for the first time in ages, and I've had them about a year now. These are literally, I only use these for when I'm like, see they're size 8. I only use these when I'm fishing for big fish, and I'll show you some of the rigs like I use for that. But anyway, keeping it simple, £6 mono. And I've got like a selection of different hooks. These things are amazing. It looks really dirty, but they're actually clean on the inside. But I've got all my hooks in there, from my float fishing to general stuff. And then I've obviously got my bigger hooks. But generally on here, I'm just going to tie, like, if I'm going to a run to water, where even if they go up to like, say, 10, 11 pound, I'm going to only be using like size 10 or a size 12 hook. I'm not going to go crazy. There's no need. And especially I use quite a lot of small baits, so I like to be quite discreet. And I'll just show you just a general mono rig. So what I'm doing is, boom, overhand knot, basically a knotless knot. So all I'm going to do is just going to pin the line like that and then do a knot, fold it over on itself. Okay, there's a lot of videos where it actually shows you better ways than the way I'm doing it. They got like white background and God knows what else and 2 different bits of rope. But all I do is literally do this, pull it together, and then just do an overhand knot in it. And I make my hairs quite small because I use small baits. So depending on the size of the bait, depending on the size of the hair. So there we go. I can see her. Oh, there we go. I just pulled. Idiot. I was trying to slow it down. That's why. All right. So all I do is a little overhand knot. Trust me, there are better videos for the actual tying of rigs, but I'm just going to show you a cheap way of tying rigs. So then what I do is to keep it short, as you can see. There we go. I just hold the knot and then pull it up. Give it a little wet, and then I just pull it, pull it, pull it, pull it, pull it, and then I make sure again, give it a little pull there, make sure everything pulls in tight. So there we go, a little knotless knot. All right, what I'll do is I'll cut off the tag end, put it on my little white plate. As you can see, this is all very professional, but I'm just trying to show you how cheap you can make it. So this is only £6 line, and honestly, this is what I fish with all the time. If you see the size of the fish that I catch, I have no problems at all. It's all about playing your fish, okay? And don't obviously fish in a snag, because you're gonna definitely lose fish. And what I do a lot of the time is, of all my old rigs, I put in a bag, and then what I do is, I'll show you now, just like this. I've got, I'll show you now, just some. I wrap my. It's just honestly for like normal fishing that I do, and look. This is what I mean. And these are rigs that I find on the street, on the lakes as well. So what I do is I just take them all apart. All bits, they're all useful. Look, they've got kickers, I've got everything here. So if I don't, generally I will not reuse the hooks. The only time I ever reuse hooks is if, like this one, it's a small hook and they stay sharp. And it's up to you, obviously. Feel the front of it to make sure, but like that, I can feel it's still sharp. I'm only fishing for little fish. I'm not fishing for bloody whatever they call them in linear, you know. some named fish. I'm fishing for just general fish. So I keep things simple, you know, and I'll show you some of the better rigs that I tie. But generally, honestly, like this one here you go, is an older rig, what I'll take apart and use for components. But look at the size of the hook on it. All I've done is 2 bits of grain corn and pop that off the bottom like that. And I caught 4 fish on that rig. You see that? And it's actually quite long. It's quite a long rig for me. And I've only got a little tiny swivel on it. So just make things simple for yourself. But look, see, I can see it's damaged. So I'll take it all apart and just use the components. I won't use that hook again because I didn't use all the hooks again. Only if I can feel they're sharp and they're sticking into my hand. So yeah, I just take all the bits off. It's like this rig. I don't trust this hook anymore. I had a few fish on it and I dropped one. So straight away I was like, right, that rig is done. So what I do is I'll just cut off and steal the swivel back. So I keep my bits. And when I say I didn't lose gear, I mean literally I won 20 leads in a carp competition 4 years ago, I think now, 3 years ago, something like that. It was ages ago. And anyway, I've still got the leads. I've still got probably about 5 left. So I rarely fish into trees and snags and blah, blah, blah. Right. I was just rabbiting on. I ain't even finished off my money hook link. Right. Let's grab a simple hook. There we go. Size 12. Is it size 12? No, it's size 14. There we go. So generally I use size 12 to size 14 hook. Sometimes I go a size 10, depends. But when in the winter and it's cold, I generally use smaller hooks. Sorry guys, I'm just messing around here trying to find a hook. Because then I've got loads of them. So as long as they're sharp, I mean pinprick sharp. Typical, man. Right. So there we go. Size 12. I put it on. I like to use curved shanked hooks a lot, especially when I'm bread fishing and stuff like that. But look, so all I do, I'm gonna pull that down. Then what I do is to make sure, you see, look, I pull it a little bit more forward in front and I hold it. And I normally make sure, some people do it off the back. I do it a little bit longer, just the way I like it. And then what I do is I'm gonna hold it like this and then I'll pin it. And just keep wrapping all up the shank and hook. And this is literally my normal rig. I would literally just put this on and fish with it all the time. Simple rig. I bought all the components. I mean, like, I rarely go to the tackle shop, and that's not exaggeration. I buy a lot of stuff, if I can, offline in bulk. Sorry for the little tackle shops, but I have no choice. I can't afford their prices on float stops and stuff like that. It's crazy. I go in there for general things, but like maggots and stuff, that's it. Like, I bought these on a deal. You know, they'll cost me like £1.50. Like, normal pack of hooks, like as you can see there. I ain't going through them every couple of weeks, and tell you that. It's too expensive. So what I do is, I'm not even going to show you the brand, but I've got loads of them. Anti-tangle sleeve. Trust me, if you're not very good and you're a beginner, okay, you need an anti-tangle sleeve. It is pointless fishing otherwise. You're just going to knot it around. I've known people to cast out for 2 or 3 hours reeling in this or knotting, and they're like, oh, the fish must have done it. No, trust me, you probably did it. You're bad casting. And you do not want to be fishing with 2 rods and paying like £1 an hour to fish a lake, and you're not fishing. So people don't get, a lot of the time their rods are not even fishing. They've been done over by a carp, or they've just cast it out and it's snagged. Anti-tangle sleeve will help a lot with that stuff. And I've even bought rigs, right, where the hair was quite long and it was braid, and it would the boilie would spin around the hook all the time. I just thought, what am I doing? Just tie my own rigs. At least I know they're gonna be effective, you know. So what I do is I pull the anti-tangle sleeve down to about there, and I feel how long I want my hook link. So I'll say about there, and I'll cut it off. Always do more, because you don't want to do less and then have too much of a small hook link. But trust me, small hook links are good, you know. So what I'll do is now, because I haven't got any swivels, I'll steal them all back from my old rigs. So here we go. There's a rig what I like. There you go, there's my swivel. Because swivels and that cost a lot of money. Like they don't, but they do if you're fishing a lot. So like I said, I like to keep my costs down as much as I can. So I'm just trying to sort out all these tangles of rigs. There we go, there's a mono one. So look, there's an old rig. Look how long that one is. That's because I fish quite snaggy, weedy waters. Oh, I say weedy, it's just silty. So I like to sit on the silt. So look, I'm going to take this apart. I don't like the way this is sat. Hook is actually blunt as well, I can feel. So look, still the swivel off. Got another round of tank sleeve there as well now. To cut off the bits. I'm actually in my loft, as you make it out, and it's literally, I was meant to be doing a fishing video today, but because it was 45 mph gusts, I fished a lot. I thought, I'm not sitting in 45 mph gusts. 20 mph I can deal with. 45 mph gusts to do my nutting. Right, so look, I'll pull that to about there. See, I'll leave the anti-tangle sleeve there for a minute while I tie this. So overhand this, grin a knot, spin it, probably 5 or 6 times, give it a good wet, take this back through. Like I said, there's slightly better videos for this, but I'm just showing you how cheap it can be. This rig has cost me nothing, and I catch a lot of fish, honestly, and when there we go, and no twizzles in the line. So what I'll do is I'll cut off the tag end now, and I'll show you the little rig. And honestly, this is what I use all the time. And I see all these like videos, and they're using coated braid and all that. It's like 20 quid a bloody thing, man. I buy one like every couple of years. It's too expensive for me. I can't afford that. I catch too many fish, and then plus on the water I fish and not have braided hook links, so it's bloody pointless. So this is where I basically was used in monos. The reason why I'm even doing the video is because when I first started carp fishing, I thought you had to use like braided hook links, all this kind of stuff, and then I wasn't allowed to use it on the water that I fish. I thought, what am I meant to do now? So we used mono, and then I got a lot more confidence in it. And you can see how subtle this is. This is only £6 line. You can barely see it. You see, look, and that's my rig. And then all I do, look, if I want to get even more technical with it, I can put a piece of tubing on there to pin that line even more down if I wanted to. But I'll just use a single 10mm boilie on that, or even a tiny, like 3 grains of corn. And that'll be it. Nice, little, simple, tiny rig. You see, you can barely see how small the hook is. You see, that's kind of the size I use. Because like I said, I'm not fishing for bloody massive fish. And majority of people didn't realise you're not either if you're fishing little commercial waters, man. You know, you might get an 18 or something, but Jesus, there's no need to go massive, you know. And here you go. I'll show you some of my other rigs, my better rigs, okay? Where I fish, say I'm fishing a water where I know there are a lot of 15-pound fish to 20-pound or something like that. I'm fishing a bigger water. Then this is generally the kind of rig I'd use, like a claw rig. Look, it's braided hook link, got a lead shot there. Pull back the coated braid, anti-tangle sleeve. It's actually quite long. And last fish I had now was, I think it was 18-pound. So you see, I know how to tie other rigs, but it's just so much simpler. You see that? Very simple rigs. Anti-tangle sleeve. And this one I've actually got, it's called shrink tubing, and it's actually quite big. So I would cut that down. It's a little bit awkward and like that. And here's some of my other rigs. Just give you an idea. And if I find a rig, I steal it. I take all the bits from it. So this is a rig I haven't used. This is a brand new fresh rig. As you can see, look, it's got the coated braid, nice sharp hook, and I always do this is pin it back. You see, with a little bit of shrink tubing. You see, and some people think it's like a claw rig basically. So as you can see, the rig would be like this, claw. So that's the normal rigs I kind of tie for when I'm going for like bigger fish. But just generally when I'm just doing mono hook links, because there's no point, it's going to cost me loads going through braided hook links all the time. And where is it? I've got any D rigs. Oh, I think I've got one tied up. And this is my D rig. If I can get it off my little thing, I'll show you what. Jesus, there we go. Right, stiff hinge. You see, get that back round, and little tiny D. You see. So this is when I'm fishing really weedy waters, bigger fish. But generally, just mono hook links makes life a lot easier. You see that again, there's another braided hook link. Make it simple, don't cost loads, just keep all your rigs. Otherwise, it's going to cost you loads in rigs. And if you fish as much as I do, it's just nuts. Like, you just go through loads of stuff. And it costs too much. So over the years, I just keeping the bits. You see, this is my decent thing, but I rarely even use that. What I do is, I just use that. For all my normal simple rigs, as you can see, I've got 2 tied on there now. And that's what I take out with me fishing. And when I go out next, I'll show you, I'll just get this out and I'll let you put it straight on. And for all the beginners, if I was you, use anti-tangle sleeves, foam. I'll show you now what I mean by foam. Dissolvable foam, because that's going to help, not like, basically it keeps it off the bottom when you're going through the water. It stops the tangle and you can see it. So when the foam comes off, you see it come up and you can put your bait to where the foam is. What I find really quite convenient when you're fishing in massive water. But look, here's some more old rigs. This is what I mean. And I'll just take all them apart, all the swivels, take the swivels off, and just put anti-tangle sleeves on them. Happy days. And I've literally got loads of rigs here, so I'm gonna have to go through all these and take them all apart and take the bits off. See, that's probably my biggest rig I've ever used. And that, I lost a wild carp on, and I was crying, absolutely crying. Brand new hook, size 6, and on a pop-up in a lake with wild carp in it. There's only a few. Got a massive rod, and it was a big fish. I seen the back of it, and the hook pulled. I was crying. That's the first time I even used a hook that big. It's only because I wanted to put off the tench. Anyways, me rabbiting on. Keep it cheap and simple, people. You don't have to always buy, like, you know, fox or quarter and all that kind of stuff. Just keep it really simple. But if you're fishing, like, you know, bigger waters, obviously, you know, especially if they say certain lines, you have to use them. You know, if it's saying, you know, you've got to use certain, like, I don't know, 20-pound braid or whatever, you have to use it. So, but I'm generally meaning when you're going on runs waters, if you fish like I do, I got a lake around the corner from my house, and I got another lake around the corner. I smash through rigs like all the time. Just keep it simple. Like I said, I've got so many bits just from my old rigs and rigs that I find around. I find a lot of rigs when I get, like, if you go to a main fisheries, there's always rigs on the floor. So I just take all the bits, all the swivels off, everything. One I done earlier. So look, there you go, it's a size 10 this hook, and I don't like the way the hair's coming off. See the way the hair's coming off? It's coming off a bit weird, you see, and you can get that with mono sometimes. So what I'll do is, anti-tangle tubing. I just cut a tiny bit off, and I mean tiny. Stick it on my baiting needle. It's just a little trick I've learned. Get the hair like this. Pull. Look, got the anti-tangle sleeve bit there. Pull it over like that. Pull it over the knot like this. Take this off now, and then get the hook point through the tubing. It can be a little bit fiddly, but look. So I just turn the hook like this. Now put that through the tubing, making sure you don't damage your line, obviously. And just pull it. You can see that it's caught like that. So I just pull it over, and that makes sense in a minute. And now I have a little claw rig. I've done really well on these. See? Just from a little bit of tubing. Instead of using shrink tubing, all I do is just put it onto the hair, put it past the knot, get on the shank of the hook, twist it around, pull it over with the shank of the hook and pull it on. And then it's pinned. It's a much easier way of doing it. There we go. Focusing. You see? And it just pins that hair down. So now, look how tidy that looks. Looks much tidier, much more streamlined, so it ain't so twisted, you see? And if I want to, I can twist it around any way I want now. I can manipulate it by just spinning the tiny bit of anti-tangle tubing. And that's instead of using shrink tubing. It might seem fiddly, but I always do really well on it. Anti-tangle sleeve. I know I've already done this, but I'm just showing you again. Just purely because, like I said, you don't have to spend loads of money. I used to think when I went carp fishing, I needed 2 kilos of bait, you know, like a kilo of pellet and a kilo of boilies, you know. And when I learned like you need corn and all these other bits of bait, and like pepper army is a really good bait, you save a lot more money, guys. And just don't get trapped into all the boilie business. I've done a video on it, well not a video on it, but I do rant on one of my videos about it. Just don't get wrapped up in it all. Like where I fish, if I use boilies every day, I'll be broke. So I just use corn, pellet. Rarely use pellet. I haven't used it at all this season. I will be using it though because it's so much cheaper than boilies. Carp are generally raised on pellet, so they love it. So, right, and it's got my rig there now. I'm trying to find the scissors because I'm really organised. Where the bloody hell are they gone? Never mind. Right, so I'll just pull that down there anyway because that doesn't matter because I'm just going to pull that back and then I can trim it later because it's still pinned back and you see what I mean. So there we go. Here's my rig. Anti-tangle sleeve down to the hook. You see it? And honestly, this rig, I catch a lot of fish on it. Bloody light, look at that. That's terrible lighting. I'll move you around a little bit. There we go. Right. So, see, simple rig. And trust me, that catch me a lot of carp. I'll just use a bottom bait with that. Keep it very simple. And I'll just use like a couple of grains of corn or pepper army. Something simple. So there we go. It's going to be the end of the video. But what I'll do is next time I'll do some more like braided hook links and more technical stuff. But like I say, I'm not a massive carp angler. I just catch a lot of carp. So, because I fish waters where they're generally quite small, you know. So, I'll probably tie like 5 rigs. And that'll last me nearly a week. Like, and that's not exaggeration. It's just because purely I catch a lot of fish, and obviously on mono and that as well. They mess up the hair and the line, and you can only catch. I normally won't do more than two or three fish on the rig. And I check it every time, and if the rig looks funny or they twinged it, then I'll just get rid of it. There's no point risking it because you don't want to snap off and you don't want to like bend a hook out. I've only had that once, so you have to be careful with it. All right, don't just like this. Like, if I just tied that straight back on, this is an old rig, you can see the mono's damaged. That would just go boom straight away. So don't, like, I've done the same thing on this rig. I've just used a tiny bit of tubing, and I can pull it up and down. It's not shrink tubing, it's just anti-tangle tubing. I just pull it over the hair, like I said, and put it on. It makes you can pin it how you want it. So this was a pop-up, so I can have it how I want, you see, and I just adjust it to how much I want the hair moving. So I find that a really good little tip. I hope this video you find a little bit helpful. Like I said, I do all this just purely to keep your costs down, so you didn't get ripped off on all these crazy bloody things. But as you can see, look, this is probably one of my most simplest rigs. It's quite a long hair. You see, just a 10mm boilie, and that's it. And like I say, 10mm boilie. I only use them on the hair, but as you can see, a lot of corn I use. So trust me, don't spend loads of money. I don't. I probably spend about a £5 a week on carp fishing, just for corn. That's literally it. Corn and bread. It's like my main things. But yeah, see, I'm just finding another. There you go. Here's a D rig I've done, an old D rig. So I'll quickly show that for 2 seconds while I'm blabbering on. It's like I said, I couldn't go fishing today. But here's a D-rig of mine. And again, I haven't tied that. I've just stuck a bit of tubing on it. You see that? To keep it pinned. That's what I did with that. I didn't tie it like a normal traditional one. Got a micro swivel on it. Bloody camera. There it is, right. See that? It's a micro swivel on that. It's not bloody focusing in. But yeah, so I've just got a micro swivel on that. A little D-rig, you see, and fluorocarbon. It's actually quite long for me. I like them quite short. But yeah, there we go. So I'll do obviously some on the D-rigs that I tie and for things like that. But trust me, I'm not a professional on it. But I catch a lot of carp, and that's the main thing to me. You see, when I first started carp fishing, I thought you needed like all this crazy stuff. The more I've done it, the more I realise you don't. You can keep it really cheap and simple. Sorry, I'm just looking at my little flakes and that, and nuts, aren't I? It's I broke it, so I feel sad. But there we go. So, and it's like float stops. Another thing, float stops. They are amazing. Okay, and I buy these in packets because if you go to a tackle shop, it's gonna cost you loads. Sorry, tackle shops, but it's the truth. Okay, you can buy them in bulk, and they're so much more cheaper, guys. And like instead of buying like the Guru ones or whatever else. And I literally carry probably 3 or 4 leads with me. This is a 2-ounce lead, what I rarely use, only for like wild fishing. Where I'm fishing, the silt is really bad, so you know you normally need like lighter leads, like an ounce lead. So there we go. Oh yeah, and here we go. And this is just for where is it? For the people out there, I do use end trap and stuff like that, but very rare. I mean, this stuff will last me 2 or 3 years. Like, I'm not wasting money, you know. Keep it down, keep the prices down, and just think about your rigs and how the fish feed, and trust me, you save a lot of money. All right, I've gotta go now. Bye. Right, there you go, a little tip for you, just for a random one. Don't reuse hooks very often, okay, unless you have to. Okay, like this hook, okay, looks good, okay, there's like nothing wrong with it, okay, but you feel down the front of it, I can feel it's jagged. That's been hit on a point and it's been knocked off. So now this hook is basically useless. It ain't gonna catch like it should do. It's gonna just fall constantly, you see, just not catching. Sharp hook will catch and it won't come off. You see, and this just rubbish, you see? So this is why you have to check your rigs, okay? And I mean, even just when you're fishing all the time, just cast out and just feel the front. And if you can feel a jagged edge on it, you know for a while that the point's gone over. And it's like I was saying with this line, that it's damaged. So check all your rigs all the time. I'm not reusing rigs, this is the difference. I take apart the rigs, okay? All right, ciao, ciao.